Hi everyone. In the last video, we saw how phagocytosis results in an antigen-presenting cell. In this video, we'll go on to see what happens in the cellular response to which it leads. So far, we've seen how phagocytosis forms part of the non-specific immune response, and therefore it targets any antigens that are identified as non-self. The final stage of phagocytosis resulted in the phagocyte becoming an antigen-presenting cell, and this now activates the cellular response, which is specific and therefore targets the antigen that has been presented. There are many types of white blood cell that fulfill different roles within the immune system. We've already been introduced to phagocytes, which are capable of engulfing pathogens. Next, we'll look at lymphocytes. There are two main types of lymphocyte, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes, or T cells and B cells for short. Each of these are specific to one particular antigen. T cells have receptors on their cell surface, which are complementary to a specific antigen. B cells display complementary antibodies. We'll look at B cells and antibodies in some more detail in future videos. T cells respond to antigens presented on the surface of cells. We've seen these could be antigen-presenting phagocytes, abnormal cells such as those that have become cancerous or are infected by a virus, or cells of a transplanted tissue or organ. Each type of T cell has receptors on its surface that are specific to a particular antigen. Attachment of the specific antigen to the receptors activates the T cell. These T cells are called helper T cells, or Th cells for short. Once the helper T cell is activated, it divides rapidly by mitosis to produce many clones. Cloned helper T cells carry out several roles. One of these is stimulating further phagocytosis. They also stimulate B lymphocytes, and this we'll look at in the next few videos. Finally, they activate a second type of T cell called a cytotoxic T cell, or TC cell. The cytotoxic T cells particularly target abnormal body cells, such as cancerous cells or those hosting a virus. They use receptors to bind to the antigen displayed on the surface of these cells. The abnormal cells are killed because cytotoxic T cells produce a protein called perforin. This makes holes in the cell membrane, leading to a loss of control of what can enter or leave the cell, and this ultimately leads to cell death. So we can see that the cellular response carried out by T cells is activated by phagocytosis and forms part of the specific immune response. There are two types of T cell, cytotoxic T cells and also helper T cells that recruit further white blood cells to the site of infection, including the stimulation of B cells. In the next video, we'll look at the role of these B lymphocytes within the humoral response.